Hey, it's Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. So we have an additional development in the MLSPIN Nosalek case, which is kind of the precursor, kind of like the pregame to the other big bombshell cases out in the Midwest, which, of course, in Kansas City, the jury sided against the industry and for the plaintiffs. But as you might remember, I did attend virtually the most recent MLSPIN Nosalek case hearing. That was just 2 weeks ago, I think. And at that time, the judge said she was very eager to get some input from the Department of Justice relative to the proposed settlement. And now we've had at least an inkling of what the Department of Justice has in mind relative to this current settlement, and they're not all that happy at all. Department of Justice objects to the second settlement bid in the MLSPIN commission case. So this is the second time they've objected. The antitrust enforcer says it continues to have concerns about a proposed deal between the home sellers and the broker-owned multiple listing service known as MLSPIN. So just as a background here in Massachusetts, MLSPIN covers, it covers the whole state, but I would say that it has, I'm just going to say like an 80% market share. I am an MLSPIN member myself, but I'm not a realtor because MLSPIN is broker-owned. All right, so getting back to this Inman story. Not enough. That's the message from the Department of Justice to the federal court in Boston Monday after home seller plaintiffs and a broker-owned multiple listing service made changes to a proposed settlement, addressing two concerns. So it seems as if they made some concessions to the Department of Justice, but not enough. So basically, they're asking for an additional delay. If we bring up the letter, here it is here. That doesn't render very well on your screen here. Maybe I slide this over. If we bring up this letter here that they actually wrote, there we go. That's much better. This was just from yesterday to the judge, Patty Saris. I think it's Saris. And again, she said she really wants to hear from them. And at the very end of this letter, it's kind of a interesting way they phrased it. Should the court wish to hear the views of the United States before determining whether to grant preliminary approval, the department respectfully asks the court to allow the United States until February 15th, happy Valentine's Day, or day after +1, 2024, to file a statement of interest. So this would just drag this whole thing out. And it does appear that there is some effort along almost everybody, whether it's the Department of Justice or whether it's the realtors, to drag everything out. The realtors definitely want a delay in the Morrill case. So we thought the conventional wisdom was that the Morrill case would go to trial in the spring. And now they're begging for maybe a fourth quarter trial. Maybe not. Maybe they're even saying maybe 2025 on that. And yeah, so lawyers never do anything efficiently. We all know that. And this appears now that the whole MLSPIN settlement proposal seems to be off the board at least until February. It would strike me as being unusual that the judge does not grant. I think the judge is going to grant this delay for the Department of Justice. I mean, when you write that, should the court want to hear the views of the United States, then I'm pretty sure the judge is going to say yes. So that seems to be, and of course it will be delayed again. And so we're not going to actually get a final settlement on this until then. And again, the whole MLSPIN thing is kind of like pregame or whatever you wanted to call it. It's a smaller affair than the Sitzer Burnett case in Kansas City, especially relative to the dollar amount. The dollar amount in the MLSPIN case was only $3 million. But this drives home the point of what I've been saying for a long time. And the point is this: the Department of Justice wants to completely separate the paying of commissions. Get this through your head. Ricky and everybody else, the Department of Justice and my good friend up in Waltham, the Department of Justice wants the seller to pay the seller commission and the buyer to pay the buyer commission. That's how they want it. They haven't come out and actually said that, and apparently now, between now and February 15th, they probably will, at least behind closed doors, but that is their position. If you can't see that reading through the lines here, then you need better glasses. You need better glasses. Understand that as we are basically at 2024, in the massive political year that it is, housing is a huge political issue. I mean, you could go down all the issues that are out there, the economy, the border, the healthcare, you know, all of them. Housing's way up there, definitely in the top 10, maybe in the top 5, right? War and peace, you know, way up there near the top. And here's an article, all credit to Amy Nixon for making this observation here. Oh my God, the New York Times has been hijacked by someone who's reporting accurately. American Dream Deferred, why housing prices may pose a problem for Biden. And this is a really interesting angle. Home buying is less attainable goal for many young people. Rents are expensive. Okay. Could that dog Democrats in the 2024 election? Let me just slide that up so you can see the bottom of the subhead. So this is a political issue for sure. And you can, again, I've warned you of this before. You can definitely see how you could have politicians coming out next year and be cheerleading a commission Armageddon, right? You can absolutely see how they could go about that. I remember when New York City, a couple of years ago, they passed this law, which has now since been in abeyance, I think, that would prohibit real estate agents from charging a apartment rental finder fee, if I remember. And I'm pretty sure that got beaten back, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can fact check me on that. But when they heard about that in Boston, I mean, they all went bonkers. Oh my God, we got to do that. And it hasn't happened yet. But understand that in 2024, we are moving. If you haven't really kind of got your thumb on the pulse here, we are moving to a really interesting year. Let's just put it that way, right? In sports, they call it the silly season. And that's what we're moving to next year, right? The silly season is usually the off season where everyone signs their contracts. And that's what we're moving to next year. It's a contract year for a lot of politicians. And you know how athletes work in a contract year. They try to really pull out all the stops. And that's what's going to happen next year. All right. So California, the latest to sue MV Realty. So I was so happy to hear about this. The brokerage, which has been the target of multiple lawsuits and investigation, allegedly predatory practices, filed for bankruptcy in September. So I've covered this story on this channel before, and there's about 400 homeowners here just in Massachusetts alone that got caught up by signing these really bizarre listing agreements. And basically, it results in a lien placed against their property for decades in many cases, in which case the MV Realty was giving the homeowner a payment, like we'll just say $1,500 in exchange for getting this almost forever listing agreement. And so if you forgot about it or whatever, 7-8 years later and you sold your house, you still owed MV Realty a fee for selling your house, and they secured that fee by a lien on your property. I know, cray, absolutely crazy. So remember, a listing agreement, they varied based upon market conditions and the type of property, but anywhere between 3 to 9 months, even shorter in some cases. But we try for 6 months at my office, but it does. That commercial property could be much longer. But I'm really glad to see California step up here and sue MV Realty. By the way, it has nothing to do with Martha's Vineyard. It's a Florida thing. And I really I feel for these homeowners. I hope they get out from under this alleged scam. My worry is, as I said in the previous video relative to MV Realty, is that the people either reincarnate themselves as some other entity, or somebody else comes up with or reinvents this innovative marketing plan, and it becomes like a whack-a-mole, and that somebody else starts doing the same thing until they get caught, right? That's sadly, scammers see a scam that works, then they say to themselves, oh, I can do that without getting caught, and then they go and do it someplace else. So that I'm fearful of that. I hope it doesn't happen, though. More lawsuits. Get out your spreadsheet. There are more lawsuits. I don't even think I can cover that anymore. Who cares, right? There's never-ending number of lawsuits. Let's see what our bond market is right now. Oh my God, it's 3.916. What a number. 3.916. Don't take my financial advice. I was absolutely positively wrong. I did not think the Fed was going to come in with such an aggressive pivot like they did last Wednesday. I thought that would be coming in like May or June, like in time for the election, but it appears as if they totally flipped on Wednesday. Now, there seems to be a little hangover from that coming now, and there have been a lot of Fed speak coming out. Even Austin Goolsbee, out of he's Chicago Fed, right? Or is he Minneapolis? Cash is. I think he's Chicago. Even Austin Goolsbee's like, whoa, maybe Powell had too many cups of coffee on Wednesday, and maybe he said too much, or maybe the market heard what it wanted to hear. There's a number of really smart people out there. Mester from the Cleveland Fed, she's on her way out, who are basically saying the market has now gotten ahead of itself. And these 3 rate cuts that we're looking at from the dot plot might not happen. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the market is actually saying not 3. The market's looking at 6 rate cuts next year. They heard what they wanted to hear. But for now, like I said on Thursday, the market is going to party like it's 1999, like that old Prince song, because just look at the rates. Look at reality. And the rates right now for a 30-year fix closed yesterday, according to Mortgage News Daily, at 6.65. Holy smokes. I mean, that's much better. Much better. But you know how I am on rates. I do think rates are going to go back to 8. I know you think I'm crazy right now. I know, but I think that's where they're going to go. So if you want to throw in your comment there, I'd be happy to read it to you or discuss it with you. Wolf Street. Fed members fan out to dose raging rate cut fires. So far, the vice chair, Williams, Mester, Bostwick, twice already. Right. Williams was on with Steve Reisman on CNBC. Now, that was Thursday. He had already booked that appointment with Reisman. Reisman disclosed that he already booked that interview like 6 months ahead of time. So it wasn't like they trotted Williams out purposely on Thursday to counteract what Powell had to say. But I think the timing was just fortunate for Williams to get out there. He's from the New York Fed, and basically pump the brakes a little bit on the whole euphoria, the irrational exuberance that the market was kind of into so far. Even Goolsbee, who has accused markets of wishful thinking. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit wishful right now, for sure. Now, the thing is, I don't really think we're going to have a price crash. What we've already had is a transaction crash, which, if you're a practicing real estate agent or broker, this has been a crash for you, because you make money. We make money off of buying and selling properties. And the volume obviously is down. The volume is down. There's no more low-hanging fruit. It's a difficult time to be a broker or an agent for most brokers, most agents. I don't know if we're going to see a crash in prices. I've heard that Grant Cardone thinks there's going to be a crash. Is he just looking for publicity? Could that possibly be the situation? I don't know. But in a recent television interview, I think on Fox, if I'm not mistaken, he's calling for a crash. There's always people that are out there calling for a crash in real estate, right? It could be the sunniest, greatest day in the market. Oh, it's a crash. I'm just not there on the whole crash bro thing. I'm just, I think rates are going to go back up, but I don't think that's going to crash the price. So we've already seen rates go up. Did it crash the price? No, not really. Market today is looking on the green side. Got green across the board, and the 10-year is down. The 10-year is down. Oil at 73. I think it popped a little bit because we were at the whole Red Sea China thing. Red Sea Suez Canal thing. Looking very, very ominous for the supply chain of oil and other goods that travel through the Suez. Not looking good. Looking like a lot of people are going to have to actually go around Africa to deliver the product to Europe. And so you might see oil continue to pop. All right, so that's it. Do we have comments? We do not have comments. I'm Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. We'll keep you posted. Have a great day. Go make some money.